In the description of my channel I mentioned that I'm a newbie and that I'm still figuring things out and you can learn from my failures. Well, this is one of those failures. In the following bits of this video you'll see me adjusting screws and nuts on wheels that are behind this cover. I ended up undoing them because there's a way easier way to shift the entire platen mechanism and carriage mechanism forward, and that's undoing this 9mm nut, pushing it forward and fastening it again. So you just need a 9mm socket wrench to do that. I ended up undoing everything I did to those wheels. Not a bad thing, I learned from it. However, at the end of this video you'll see me inserting a washer at the shift mechanism. That was still necessary because there's some sort of alignment issue going on with the segment of this machine. So I hope you enjoy the rest of this video. Hi everyone, my machine was almost complete and then I noticed something annoying. The keys don't hit the platen. So when I hit the key like this, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's not even touching it. So I'm going to need to do a ring and cylinder adjustment. Well, the ring bit of the ring and cylinder adjustment is this over here. The idea is that your key lever touches this before it hits the platen. That won't be an issue at the moment, and the cylinder is the platen itself. So I'm going to try to move it a bit forward. Fortunately for me, the machine already gave me a little bit of a hint with the number of carbon copy settings over here. If I turn it to more carbon copy settings, you can see the platen moving backwards. And it does that by moving that eccentric ring over there. So what I need to do is bring those wheels further to this side so the entire platen thing goes further to the left. But let's try to get this sorted. So to make the ring and cylinder adjustments, you need to move your carriage all the way to the edge, as you can see. That way you can go with one wrench from beneath, like so. Makes life a bit easier. For that little screw over there, it's completely all the way in there. First we need to get the spring off. Make sure you wear safety goggles, because sometimes springs like to fly towards your eyes. This one fortunately didn't. First I'm gonna loosen this one up so I can just screw that one out a bit. You need an 8mm and a 6mm wrench for this, preferably a very flat one. There we go. So now I can move the wheel from the other side, from all the way down that little hole over there. So I'm gonna first, the drawbed is a bit in the way, loosen this one a bit. I've already WD-40'd this. There we go. And now I should be able to screw that one further in. If I can get my wrench around it. that should effectively move the platen closer to the slugs where they are trying to hit the platen. At the moment they're trying. Let's make sure they succeed in hitting the platen. Right, that's fixed. Now there's only one thing left to do, well maybe two. That's securing this nut to make sure the wheel doesn't get anywhere, and of course reconnect this spring. There we go. And then we can do a little test. So back to this machine. I managed to change the cylinder setting, the platen. It kind of worked, but didn't go completely as I wanted, because when you look at this type sample over here, you can see that all the left letters are faint and all the right letters are quite okay. When I shift to capitals, it's less pronounced, but in the lowercase, it's an issue. So it's a bit of a wild guess, but you can see over here there's this tiny bit of polymer sticking out behind the ring, and I think that it might have swollen due to use of white spirit or mineral spirit, so I'm gonna see if I can remove that easily. I'm afraid not, but we'll see. First I'm gonna loosen these screws a bit, or take them out completely. It's fairly easy. Let's hope the rest of them is as easy. Oh. There we go, that's number 2. Last one. Probably need to lift, yeah, it's gonna lift over it. It's not gonna be too much of a hassle, I think. I'll take another one. There we go. Let's see if this thing wants to come out or not. No, still very, very stuck. Right, so I'm gonna take a look on the back and see if I can find something over there. So it's rather stuck. It almost seems as it's glued in there. I added some WD-40. I lifted this one over just by putting it on red setting and then shifting it. And now I'm just wiggling it out. Slow and steady. Yeah, that's one side, and now the other side. And I can see what's going on in the back. If you need some cleaning, some stuff I need to remove. Troublesome machine this. Come on out. There we go. Okay. There's some, yeah, that's probably the culprit. There's all this white residue over here. I'm gonna clean this one. Gonna sand it a bit. And then it's gonna be better, I hope. Oh, there's a lot of gunk here as well, so not much I can do about it, but try to get rid of it. First I'm gonna put some isopropyl on it, attack it with a brass brush first. None of that is helping behind a ringer. No, it doesn't want to come off. Alright. Let's tie some WD-40 then. Maybe. Yeah, it's all glue in there. Oh my god. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Time to break out the Dremel, I think. Still not completely what I'm expecting from it. It is getting cleaner, but there's still residue. Still this odd cakey stuff. Probably need to go a little bit harder than brass and go with some sandpaper or something like that. No? Let's try that. Since sanding paper is somewhat nuclear, I'm going to try to do some steel wool first. See if that makes any difference. Because steel is a bit harder than brass. And that does seem to work a bit. is steel wool with a little bit of WD-40 on it, by the way. Yep. I'm getting there. Not quite yet, but it's getting better. So I'm gonna be doing this and show you the results when it's done. So first pass with steel wool is rather successful. You can see it's looking a lot better already, but I still have some annoying spots left, and I'm gonna tackle them with my dentist bit first. There we go, see, it all flakes off now. And then I'm gonna tackle those scratch marks I make again with the steel wool. Slow and steady, everything will come off. There we go. That seems to be clean. This is still a lump. I'm gonna need to do some sanding work eventually, I think. There we go. Let's go over it like so. And then again, with steel wool with some WD-40. Polishing it out a bit. It's looking a hell of a lot better already. And it feels smooth now. That's great. One thing left to do is this grimy bitch over here, which I'm gonna do off camera and show you the result later. So I did a couple of things. I cleaned it completely. No more residue crud. I kept this thing in place, but you can see there are two indentations over here. Those were a bit smaller, and those two correspond with those two guys over here. So I dremeled those out a bit to make sure that those wouldn't be interfering with getting this entire thing flush. So now I'm gonna install this thing again, and let's try again. Moment of truth. Let's see if this did something. Not enough, it seems. I mean, it's getting there. At the end of the previous video, you could see that I was still struggling with the left side of the keyboard. A, Z, E, Q, S, D, W, X, C, exclamation mark, the A and the double accent, or the quotation marks. So something was off on the left side. On this machine, there is virtually nothing you can slide around. There are a lot of adjustment bolts, but not really good ones. This thing just shifts your shift limiter a bit around. But in the end, I found it. I found something I could do. This wheel over here is mounted on, has an eccentric axle, so if I turn this thing around, I can move this ball bearing holder slightly to the back. So what I did then was I inserted a tiny washer in here. So I moved that one out of the way, untightened those two screws, inserted the washer, screwed it back, put the wheel against it so the shift properly works. And how it works. So this took quite a fair amount of adjusting, but it's done. I'm happy. Alright people, see you later.